Why is Arkham stealth so compelling? All you do is walk up to someone and press the counter button, which, on the surface, doesn't seem all that cognitively demanding. However, there's more to it than that. And whilst yes, it's fun to tear through rooms using your martial arts skills, there's also something incredibly compelling about sneaking around like a phantom and without warning, you give someone the world's best lullaby, strangulation. Through extensively playing the Predator sections, I think there are 4 reasons why Arkham stealth is so compelling. Reason 1. Strong power fantasy. Stealth, arguably more than combat sections, reinforce that you are the apex predator. The power fantasy the game provides during stealth sections is gargantuous, in that if you're barely seen or not seen at all, the personal satisfaction the player can receive cannot be any higher, even if you tried. A lot of stealth games disempower the player by resorting to hiding, and whilst there is hiding in Predator sections, one narratively and psychologically brilliant aspect of it is that you hide and overlook the rooms above your opponent, looking down on the prey. Since you're looking down on your opponent, it gives you psychological reinforcement that you are the one who has the power, as Obi-Wan once said.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
One amazing subtle detail is the enemy's dialogue and heartbeats as you dispatch more and more of them. Their heartbeats increase and their mental states go from relaxed and calm to panic and aneurysm inducing. Their dialogue also changes from high-strung and borderline pretentious to, put simply,
I don't know what I'm doing! Ah! Shit! Fuck me! Shit! What the fuck?
The subtle and obvious changes to behavior and speech patterns reinforce the power fantasy the game gives you, as there is clear evidence that you're leaving a mark in the world, and that's not just through a pile of broken bones. In other stealth games like Splinter Cell, ideally you leave no evidence that you were there. However, in Arkham stealth, you have to knock out everyone in the room in order to progress, so might as well leave a hallmark card in their presence. A hallmark card in the shape of a bat, really ruining the day of a thug who thought he was going to have an easy payday. Reason 2. Simple yet effective detection and escape. In other stealth games, there's a detection meter that gives you a little time before the enemy spots you. They first notice you, then head to your location and start firing if they fully detect you. Then the player has the option to stand and fight or retreat into the shadows. They can escape and hide and try stealth again. But only this time, the enemies are on high alert for your presence. In Batman Arkham, it's all binary. There is no detection meter. The enemy instantly spots you, which, if you think about it, makes perfect sense as a man in a giant bat costume does not exactly scream subtle.
Okay.
So they immediately detect you and start firing. However, to compensate for this, you can immediately escape and enter high ground via your grapple gun. You also have a smoke pellet, which makes the enemies have stormtrooper aim, so you effectively have one free detection. Detection is easy, but so is escape. This makes the stealth mechanics very binary, which helps streamline the process and makes it easier for the player to digest. It's not as difficult for the player to remember, understand, and get to grips with, so the player has a better learning and playing experience. If the player stops playing the game for a few months and comes back to it, the stealth and predator mechanics should be quickly and easily familiar due to the binary system of detection and escape. Reason 3. Psychological warfare.
Picking up the signal again! He's got a lock! He's right behind me! No! Ah! Ah!
And that's the kicker. Batman doesn't just break their bodies, he breaks their minds. Batman, the master of fear, absolutely ruins the blood pressure of the enemies he faces. In other stealth games, most of the time, you use weapons, tools, and gadgets that the player has on them to kill or subdue different enemies. Use guns, grenades, crossbows, and so forth to defeat your enemies. However, Batman, oh so devious Batman, turns his enemies' weapons against them. Guns can be jammed and used to electrocute the enemy. Medics have their revive kits used against them. Drones that once hounded the Dark Knight are now the ultimate bug zapper for the enemy. Weapon crates can be sabotaged, so a thug will be in for a nasty shock if they were to go for a gun. Detective mode jammers and trackers can be hacked, so the user will bleed from the ears when they use them. In addition, it's not just the equipment, the environment itself is also being used as a weapon against the enemy. generators, weak walls, vents, and so forth can be used to knock enemies out. I can imagine it will be a harrowing experience for generic bad guy number 72. You're walking casually and all of a sudden, the wall to the left of you turns into a million pieces and you're in the infirmary. The environment being weaponized against you helps reinforce the idea that Batman is simultaneously everywhere and nowhere.
Sierra Delta, repeat. I'm looking at fighter jets over I-95. How the hell did they get through?
The point I'm trying to make is that Batman does not even need to touch his opponent with a 10-foot pole to absolutely ruin their day. He can do it in the comfort of his own gargoyle or vent. And psychologically, that has to be damning and painful to the enemy. They have all this fancy equipment that would have cost a fortune, and Batman is weaponizing it against them. It's almost an attack on their identity as something they are good at, and the equipment used to kill the Bat is weaponized against them. And that would hurt worse than being run over by the Bat tank, as Batman used his weapon against you. In stealth, he uses your own weapon against yourself. The same goes for the environment, as the floors you walk on and the walls you lean on are beating you to near death. Reason 4. Strategy and opportunity costs. However, despite all that being said about strength and being the apex predator, Arkham's stealth feels rewarding and satisfying due to the strategy and opportunity costs it offers. In order for you to win and win cleanly, you need to plan things out.
I had a goddamn plan!
As stated earlier, you can hack multiple enemy gadgets and those gadgets can and will knock out the enemy. However, you only have 4 shots on your disruptor gadget, so you have to decide what you want to sabotage. Enemies will improvise and adapt to your strategies and tactics, such as placing sentry guns and placing mines on vantage points. You also have to prioritize and pick and choose who you want to target first, and there can be strategy and second order reasoning in who you want to take out and the methodology you want to use to knock someone out. It would be smart to take out the medics first, as they can revive down enemies, but if you sabotage the defibrillators, you would want to leave them be, so when they go in for the revive, they are in for a nasty surprise. If you use a knockout smash, an inverted takedown, or any loud takedown, it will attract attention and the enemy will congregate to the sound, but multiple enemies together are absolutely perfect for a fair multi-takedown.
We can do this!
And so forth. If you're creative about it, you can be extremely fast and efficient in how you take down an entire group of enemies. Arkham Stealth is not just pressing the counter button, it's the power fantasy the game provides relative to other stealth games. It's the simple yet effective detection and escape system which makes this game more attractive and appealing to both newcomers and longtime fans of the series. It's the psychological warfare, using the enemy's weapons against them, and it's the strategy and opportunity costs that all compound to make Arkham Stealth so compelling and so fun. So remember, if you're generic bad guy number 42, look over those vents. This is Zach, not Zach, signing off. Please remember to like, favorite, comment, and subscribe.